prophecy of the Chosen One is an old Jedi legend first introduced in The Phantom Menace, which said that a Jedi would bring balance to the Force. And what balance to the Force actually means is kind of up for debate. The Jedi in the prequels treated as no Sith remaining, when really, if you think balance, you'd almost think that there's an equal amount of Jedi and Sith, and that would be the truly balanced state of the Force. So just to avoid confusion and for practicality's sake, we are going to take balance to the Force, for this video at least, to mean the destruction of all Sith, because it seems like that's how the canon has treated it. The Chosen One was long thought to be Anakin Skywalker, and this is both due to his immaculate conception type of birth and his unprecedented amount of midichlorians higher than even Master Yoda. And really, after he became a Jedi, most of the members of the Jedi Council actually treated Anakin as the Chosen One. And if there was really any confusion, it was more over what the prophecy was actually predicting, less so Anakin's basically position as the Chosen One. However, of course, Anakin did turn to the dark side and killed most of the Jedi along with the help of Emperor Palpatine, who was of course a Sith Lord, leading some to question, did Anakin truly bring balance to the Force as described by the Jedi? Although he did redeem himself at the end of his life by killing the Emperor and himself, which really I guess was the destruction of the final two Sith, perhaps that could be more accurately attributed to Luke Skywalker, which has led some to question, hey, is Luke Skywalker actually the Chosen One? The recent episode of Rebels kind of made this question even more interesting. And by the way, I'm about to spoil a serious plot point for the episode Twin Suns, which just came out a couple days ago, so if you haven't seen it yet, stop watching now and come back after you have. Anyway, I'm going to give you a second to close the video so you're not spoiled. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Alright, on to the spoilers. Anyway, Obi-Wan is confronted by Darth Maul and he fatally wounds him. On his deathbed, Darth Maul asks Obi-Wan whether he's protecting the Chosen One, whether Luke Skywalker, although he doesn't know he's Luke, whether he is the Chosen One. And Obi-Wan responds, he is. And I know a lot of fans, myself included, when they saw that moment for the first time were like, what the hell? Like, we've always known, or we've always thought, or some have figured that Luke may be the Chosen One, but I know I've always believed that Anakin was the Chosen One. And as I'm going to kind of lay out here in a second, I do think that Anakin is still the Chosen One, and this episode doesn't actually change anything. And I think really the confusion here comes from the character of Obi-Wan Kenobi being flawed in the way he perceives the prophecy of the Chosen One. So he is in just such a dark place after the events of Revenge of the Sith, and as Pablo Hidalgo, who, as I've laid out a few times, is basically one of the chief storyboard guys for Star Wars, says, remember that if a fictional character thinks something, it doesn't necessarily mean they're right. Continuing, in other words, rewatch episodes 4 to 6 to figure out where old Ben thinks salvation lies and where he thinks no hope remains. So what Pablo is basically saying is that Ben has given up on Anakin Skywalker as the Chosen One, as the one who's going to fulfill the prophecy. And he thinks that Luke Skywalker, as the title of episode 4 would suggest, is the new hope. However, Ben ends up being wrong, because Anakin does, in the end, destroy the dark side when he kills Sidious and himself. And I find it kind of interesting that Ben lost all faith in Anakin, while others, including especially Anakin and before her death Padme, never actually lost that hope, but I guess that's kind of an aside. And I don't know, I think when you look at the events of Return of the Jedi more closely, you can see that Anakin very clearly, he did redeem himself, and he becomes a Force ghost at the end of the movie without, well, we don't have any knowledge, but without seemingly any sort of Force ghost training like Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon Jinn and Yoda had. And I mean, Obi-Wan's position on this issue has been contradicted in other cases. One, I think, that is most notable is in Empire Strikes Back, when Luke is leaving Dagobah and Obi-Wan and Yoda are watching him. Obi-Wan basically says, that boy is our last hope, and Yoda says, no, there is another. Which, for one, is an absolutely beautiful scene. But for two, I don't think that there can be two chosen ones. And basically that's suggesting that if Luke were to fail, Leia would be able to pick up the slack and do just what he did, no problem. And I don't think that can be true for someone who is the chosen one. So basically, to conclude on this point, although Anakin had kind of a rocky and indirect path to fulfilling the prophecy, he ultimately did, and that's at least up until the end of episode 6. I mean, the sequel trilogy may confuse this with the introduction of more Force, Dark Force wielding beings, but by the time of episode 6, he has clearly fulfilled the prophecy. He's redeemed himself. He's done what he was meant to do since his birth, and he is a Force ghost. Perhaps in the future, with the emergence of a new, not strictly Sith threat, there will be a need for another Chosen One, and maybe that's Rey. Maybe that's something else. I don't know, but for the original trilogy and the prequel trilogy at least, Anakin fulfills his role as the Chosen One better than Luke does, and it was a mistake for Obi-Wan to say that Luke is the Chosen One and to give up hope on Anakin, although he can't be blamed. I'm not blaming Obi-Wan. He had been through hell. He lost all his friends. He lost his best friend, and he saw the Jedi Order collapse in front of him when Anakin was supposed to eliminate the dark side from the universe. So I want you guys to chime in and let me know what you thought about last episode, the prophecy of the Chosen One, generally Anakin's journey from Chosen One to Sith Lord to redemption. And let me know if you think the prophecy has been fulfilled and if you think Anakin was the one that fulfilled it. I mean, I'm open to hearing arguments about why it's Luke, but I've got my opinion. Anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed this episode, which was spurned by last night's Twin Sons Rebel episode. I hope to speak to you again very soon. I love you. May the Force be with you.